Let us start the session today. So in today's class, I'm going to discuss about two topics. One is MRA PSK. Another one is MRA QAM. MRA PSK, as the name indicates, it is MRA phase shift key. You have observed we have different possibilities of modulation in PSK because in earlier classes we had discussed about BPSK, binary PSK, and QPSK. Now we are working about MRA PSK. All of them are phase shift keying only. Only the particular word MRA differs. Okay. What this is all about? Look into this. In BPSK, we find two symbols in the input source, and the system is called binary system. In binary system, usually we denote the symbols as symbol 1 and symbol 0. In BPSK, to represent these two binary symbols, we choose two different phase values for the carrier signal. In BPSK, carrier signal's amplitude remains constant throughout for both the symbols. Frequency also remains same for both the symbols. Only changing part is the phase. The total phase is 360°, which will be divided into two parts. That is 360 by 2 is 180. So we choose two phase values for the carrier signal, which is having a difference of 180°. That means the symbol 1 will be represented by the carrier signal with a 0 phase. The symbol 0 is represented by the carrier signal with phase 180. So that the first signal is having 0° phase, second one is having 180°. So the difference is 180. Okay. This is what we do. So amplitude same, frequency same. Since frequency is not at all changing from symbol to symbol, this PSK modulation technique is called linear modulation technique. Linear, because the frequency is same for all the symbols. Since the amplitude is same for all the symbols, at the receiver, there is no need to observe the changes in the amplitude, because when signal is transmitted through communication channel, noise is added onto the signal. That time amplitude variations will occur. The envelope of the signal changes. Even though envelope changes, at the receiver we don't give importance for it because we are not interested in amplitude variations of the transmitted signal through the channel. We are interested only in the phase of the received signal. If the phase of the received signal is very close to 0, we take a decision in favor of symbol 1. If the received phase is very close to 180, then we take a decision in favor of symbol 0. So 0°, 180°. In between L is 90°. So we can keep 90° as a threshold reference value. So less than 90°, symbol 1. More than 90°, symbol 0. So like this we can do it. This is what is BPSK. We studied in detail. Okay. Then later we thought of QPSK. It's almost similar to your BPSK. Amplitude same, frequency same. To represent four different symbols, Q stands for quadri phase shift key, where symbols will be 4. To represent these 4 symbols, we chose 4 different phase values. That means 360 divided by 4, 90°. So we have to choose any 4 values which are separated by 90°. One set I told 0 degree, 90 degree, 180 degree, and 270 degree. So all of them are having a difference of 90 degree. Otherwise, we tried another combination also 45 degree, 135, 225 degree. That is pi by 4, 3 pi by 4, 5 pi by 4, and 7 pi by 4. This is also having a difference of 90 degree. So these four values of the carrier can represent four symbols QPSK. Now I'm coming to M-array PSK, which is the generic form of PSK. Nothing but the number of symbols at the input information source will be M. This M may be anything, integer. M is equal to 2, binary, PSK. M equal to 4, QPSK. Like this. M can be anything. If M is equal to 8, octa phase shift key. Octa phase shift key. So instead of going the discussion for BPSK, QPSK, we generalize everything and put it under one heading, M-array PSK. Okay. So keep it in mind. In M-array PSK, the number of digital symbols available at the information source are M. Okay. All these M symbols are represented by M number of phase values of the carrier signal. So carriers, for the carrier signal, we have to choose M number of different phase values. And all these M number of different phase values should be equidistant from each other. That means the difference between two consecutive phase must be a fixed value. And it is taken like this: 360 degree divided by M. 360 degree divided by M is going to be the phase difference between two successive symbols. For example, for the first symbol, we choose phase of 0. For the second symbol, we choose the phase of 2 pi by M. 2 pi is 360 degree, 360 by M. For third symbol, it's going to be 2 times 2 pi by M. For the next symbol, 3 times 2 pi by M. Next one, 4 times 2 pi by M. Like last symbol, M minus 1 into 2 pi by M. So likewise, we are going to choose different phase values for different symbols. That is how I'm going to be M-array PSK. Right. So in M-array PSK, the difference in phase values between the two successive symbols will be very small. It is less than, it's going to be 90 degree in QPSK, 180 in BPSK, like that, 45 degree in octa PSK, like this. As the number of symbols increases, the difference between the two phase values decrease. This may cause errors at the receiver if the decision is wrong. So that's why a care should be taken in designing the very sensitive receiver. The receiver should be very sensitive in identifying the phase difference. If you have a better receiver, so you can reduce the phase value even further so that you can represent more symbols. Right. What is the advantage of M-array PSK when you have BPSK? Okay. In BPSK, one waveform in a period of capital T, that is symbol duration, in one symbol duration, the carrier carries only one symbol. Okay. The sinusoidal carrier with the 0 phase shift will carry symbol 1. The sinusoidal carrier with 180 phase shift will carry symbol 0. So one waveform at a time carries one bit. The complete waveform is anyhow traveling along the channel and reaching the receiver, but finally it delivers only one bit in a duration of 0 to capital T. But if you change to QPSK, the same waveform, the same carrier signal, which was going on the channel in a duration of 0 to capital T, will carry 2 bits of information. See, same carrier is carrying 2 bits of information. Okay. The vehicle is same. The carrier goods vehicle is same. It's carrying 2 big boxes in QPSK. The vehicle carries only one box in BPSK. So that's the difference between QPSK and BPSK. In BPSK, one vehicle carries 2 boxes. Whereas in MPSK, one carrier signal in the duration of 0 to capital D carries m number of possible symbols. Okay, m number of possible symbols. That means look at BPSK. BPSK, it carries 1 bit. QPSK, it carries 2 bits, right? So that for 4 different symbols, the bit pattern is 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. So by taking 2 bits of binary, we made 4 symbols. Like this, in MPSK, the signal can have more number of bits per carrier signal. So for example, m equal to 8 octa. M equal to 8 means how many bits you need to represent 8 symbols? Means 3 bits. 2 cube is equal to 8. That means every symbol carries 3 bits of information. 3 bits of information. That means if you think in this direction, you can understand that every carrier signal is capable of carrying 3 bits of information. So the data rate is going to be 3 times more than that of the BPSK. Effort is same, but number of bits per carrier signal will be more. So in this way, MRA PSK, in generic form, going to be very important. So you look at the equations there. Theta I have given. Theta I is equal to I minus 1 2 pi by m. I can take 1 2 3 values, integer values, to choose the phase value. Right. I will come to the expression for this MRSK signal. Okay. As we wrote the equations for BPSK, BFSK, BASK, here also we can write it. S of t is equal to root of 2e by t. Root of 2e by t. E stands for energy per symbol. T stands for symbol duration, one symbol duration. So as usual, the carrier signal is cosinusoidal cos 2 pi of ct. Fc is the carrier frequency plus the phase 2 pi fct plus theta. 2 pi fct plus theta. Okay, right? The 2 pi fct plus theta. Here, if I get some pen, try to write something. Okay, there's a thin line. Choose. Yeah, this portion. Yeah, it's working. E 2 pi by m I minus 1 is the phase value. Okay, for different symbol you can change the I value there. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yes. If you see the equation of S of t, it's in the form cos of a plus b. Cos of a plus b. So if you expand this equation, so you will get the second equation, that is Si of t. Si of t is equal to this particular equation. You will get it. Root of 2e by t cos 2 pi of ct cos 2 pi I minus 1. So likewise, you have two terms. In the two terms, if you observe, the first term contains cos 2 pi of ct. Second one contains sin 2 pi of ct. Both of them are having the same frequency, Fc. But they have a fixed phase difference of 90 degrees between them. This cos term and sin terms came from the previous equation, cos of a plus b format. Okay. There's a mathematical interpretation. That's all. So this cos 2 pi of ct and sin 2 pi of ct will show that two different basis functions are possible here. Two different basis functions. I've given here phi 1 and phi 2, root 2 by t cos 2 pi of ct, root 2 by t sin 2 pi of ct. So taking these two equations as basis functions, we can declare M array PSK as two-dimensional system. Two-dimensional. So we can put these equations phi 1 and phi 2 back into the original equation. We will get finally SI of t as root e cos of the phase into phi 1 minus root e sin of the phase into phi 2. In simple form, it is taking this equation. Finally, the coefficient of phi 1 of t, that is this fellow and this one. Coefficient of phi 1 and phi 2 will be those values of phase. Will be those values of phase. This plus and minus. So we call them SI1 and SI2. So that comes in standard form. Okay. Let me summarize this slide. So from this discussion, we conclude that M array PSK is a two-dimensional system in which two basis functions are defined and they are orthogonal to each other. That means they are having a phase shift of 90 degree. If cos 2 pi of ct is taken as in phase signal, then sin 2 pi of ct is quadrature signal. Whenever you use in phase component and quadrature component, you call the system as quadrature system. So M array PSK is a quadrature system, two-dimensional system, right? Usually in PSK, only one carrier signal is used, which will acquire two different phase values. But here, after the mathematical interpretation, we came out with two different basis functions. Both of them are of same frequency and amplitude, but phase different. Okay. So there's a mathematical exercise give us two basis functions, make the systems two-dimensional, right? Now we'll go to signal constellation. In signal constellation, generally, whenever guys, all of you remember, you will be asked to write signal constellation of PSK, PSK, QPSK, DPSK, something like that. So that time you have to start with equation of S of t. You have to write complete equation of S of t. Then you have to define basis functions. After defining basis functions, you have to find the signal components, SI1, SI2, something like that. After that, you have to plot signal space diagram, right? Yeah. So based on these equations, we come to this conclusion, right? So since the system is two-dimensional, we have two basis functions and we have two axes, perpendicular axis. One for cos 2 pi of ct, another for sin 2 pi of ct. The horizontal axis is denoted as phi 1, vertical axis is denoted as phi 2. Horizontal is phi 1, the vertical is phi 2. Yeah. Okay. Phi 2. So whenever there is a quadrature system, whenever there are two basis functions which are perpendicular to each other, we always end up with two-dimensional x-axis and y-axis, taking one basis function on x-axis, another one on y-axis, right? Keeping this two-dimensional system in mind, we try to represent message points on this system. Message points. How many message points are there? Capital M number of message points are there. So I have to identify capital M number of points on the signal space diagram. In binary PSK, BPSK, we had only two message points. Two message points. One is with 0 phase, another with 180 phase. The 0 phase was having some amplitude. 180 phase signal was also having some amplitude. Because of 180 phase, we wrote the amplitude as minus. Remember, minus. The amplitude of the first message symbol was root EB. Second symbol was minus root EB. For BPSK, we wrote signal space diagram taking only one horizontal axis. Because in BPSK, only one carrier signal was used. There was no sine and cos. There was no quadrature concept there. That's why only one horizontal axis was drawn. and one point was written on the right side of the origin, another on the left side. Right side point was root EB, left side point was minus root EB. This is what happened in BPSK. When it comes to QPSK, suddenly we got two-dimensional system. One is sine 2 pi of theta and one is cos 2 pi of ct. Both are drawn perpendicular to each other. Okay. In QPSK, we had 4 message points. So identified 4 message points there. Okay. You might have observed in both of them that all the 4 points in QPSK remain at the same distance from the origin. 2 on y-axis, 2 on x-axis. If not, all the 4 will remain in the center of the 4 quadrants. But the distance from the origin remain same. Why distance from the origin remains same for all the points? Because amplitude of QPSK signal was constant. Amplitude is constant in BPSK and QPSK. That's why the distance between origin and the point corresponds to amplitude. Distance between origin and the message point always corresponds to amplitude of the signal. Since amplitude of all the signals are same, we got that kind of constellation. Here also you can see a circular constellation, which shows that all the message points, m number of message points, are at the same distance from the origin, because all m symbols have the same amplitude, same frequency, only they differ in phase. Okay, so because of that, on this circle I have identified m number of symbols, but this diagram is written only for m equal to 8. Okay, I have identified 8 points there. You can observe 2 points lie on x-axis, 2 points lie on y-axis, totally 4. Remaining 4 stay between the first 4 on that particular circle. Okay, this is the circular constellation. So whenever you observe circular constellation, you can come to conclusion that the amplitude of all message symbols remain constant. Amplitude do not change. That's why they form circular constellation. When the amplitude is same, definitely it is not ASK, amplitude shift keying, right? It may be belonging to FSK or PSK, something like that. Okay, right. So if in the right side diagram circle, I have shown how to identify decision boundary. Okay, if you observe there, guys, yeah, look at this message point and this message point and this message point. 3 message points are chosen there. Read them what they are. This is M1, this is M2, and this is M8. Okay, so what I am interested at this point of time is the distance between these two symbols, M1 and M2, are distance between M1 and M8. The consecutive symbols, what is the shortest distance between them? The shortest distance between these two symbols is also called Euclidean distance or minimum distance. That means what is the minimum distance that is enough to identify these symbols separately in the receiver. As the minimum distance decreases, probability of error increases. Chances of making errors increases. That's why we look into the minimum distance concept here also. Okay, it should remain constant throughout, and we sometimes calculate that value also, right? We shall see that part later. Yeah, here I have given this value also. The Euclidean distance, nothing but minimum distance between two consecutive symbols on signal space diagram. Okay, so in this particular case I have taken as D12. That means the minimum distance between symbol 1 and symbol 2, which is also equal to minimum distance between symbols 1 and 8, which is equal to 2 times root of sine of pi by m. How this equation obtained? This is from the signal space diagram. If you draw the geometry, draw something like a right angle triangle a right angle triangle. Yeah, here see, it's made a triangle over here. Based on the geometry of the triangle, that equation is obtained. 2 root e sine of pi by m. This is the distance. This is the minimum distance in terms of voltage. If you square this value, you'll get the power, right? So based on that, you can decide, is this much of power difference is enough for transmission? If yes, continue like that. Okay. Similarly, the average probability of symbol error for M array PSK is also given 2 times the Q function of this D minimum with N naught in there. Okay. So the derivation is not required. It's not there in your syllabus. This probability of error equation is useful only if the symbols are more than or equal to 4, QPSK and above. Next, to transmit this signal, MRA PSK, what is the channel bandwidth required? That means how much bandwidth is required. That is given by 2 by capital T. Okay, right. As I said in one of the classes that RB equal to 1 by TB. TB is the symbol duration in binary. TB is the symbol duration in binary. 1 by symbol duration is always data rate, RB. Data rate equal to 1 by symbol duration. Okay. But if I ask you to calculate channel bandwidth, okay, channel bandwidth, that's going to be 2 times RB. Bandwidth is equal to 2 times RB, twice the RB. Remember always, this is the general equation. Right. Bandwidth of channel required to transmit a particular signal is always equal to 2 times the data rate. Data rate is equal to 1 divided by the symbol duration. So based on this, B is equal to 2 by T. Okay. Channel bandwidth in terms of RB. So if you want in terms of RB, it's going to be, as I said, RB equal to 1 by TB. But TB is not applicable here because this is not binary. That's why T is there. T. Okay. 1 by T. So RB, it is taken as RB divided by log 2 of M. Log 2 of M. Suppose binary M equal to 2 andre log of 2 correct? Log 2 of base 2 is going to be 1. So that we are going to get 2 times RB. Right. So based on this, we can calculate bandwidth efficiency. Right. Bandwidth efficiency is something that is calculating how much bandwidth is utilized for transmission out of available. Available channel bandwidth is capital B. How much we are using is RB, that is data rate. Correct. So how much RB occupies out of capital B is called bandwidth efficient. Right, that way. It's going to be 2 log 2M. So these are the equations you can keep it in mind. This is about MRA PSK. Very simple discussion, right? It's a generalization of BPSK and QPSK. That's why we can easily get into that concept, right? So now we should move. One more similar one, which is MRA QAM, quadrature amplitude modulation. We understand the title first, guys. MRM is, and you know that what it is. It deals with M number symbols to be transmitted. Quadrature stands for two basis function. One is cos 2 pi of ct, another one is sin 2 pi of ct. I given the last part of the slide. Phi 1 of t is equal to root of 2 by t cos 2 pi of ct. Q2 is equal to root of 2 by t sin. So whenever you come across these kind of basis functions, we can declare that particular modulation technique as quadrature. That means the communication system is described in terms of two signals, that is cos 2 pi of ct and sin 2 pi of ct. These are useful. Such systems are called quadrature systems, right? Cos term is in phase, sin is quadrature. This is quadrature amplitude modulation. In the previous discussion, we discussed MRA PSK, phase shift keying, right? Here it is MRA quadrature amplitude modulation, amplitude, right? Here the amplitude of the signal will change instead of the phase value. Okay. So MRA quadrature amplitude modulation. That means M number of symbols, M number of input symbols are represented in terms of M number of amplitude levels of the carrier signal. Right. The carrier signal is having two parts, cos 2 pi of ct and sin 2 pi of ct. Both phi 1 and phi 2 will have M number of different amplitude levels. So phi 1 is going to have one level, phi 2 is going to have one level. Both levels put together becomes one symbol. Right. Like this, we can make MRA combinations. See, the amplitude is changing from symbol to symbol. You don't get circular constellation. Circular constellation is obtained only if the amplitude is kept constant. That means in this particular discussion, you don't expect circular constellation. The constellation is going to be something like a square constellation, because amplitude differs, varies. Right. Let us look into the first bullet point. In MRA PSK, the I and Q component, that is in phase and quadrature components, are interrelated in such a way that the envelope is constrained to remain constant. In MRA PSK, that is previous topic, MRA PSK, in phase and quadrature components are interrelated in such a way that envelope is constrained to remain constant. That means if the cos term is increasing, then sin term decreases. Sin term is increasing, cos term decreases, so the overall magnitude remains constant. That means if there are two parts, cos theta and sin theta, the magnitude is root of cos square theta plus sin square theta. So that if you want to keep this square root of cos square theta plus sin square theta, the magnitude, to keep the magnitude constant, cos and sin should behave such that as the cos increases, sin should decrease, vice versa. That happens in your circular constellation. As the x-axis decreases, y-axis increases. As the y-axis decreases, x-axis. That's how it makes a circle. Right. That's what the meaning of the first sentence. In MRA PSK, in phase and quadrature components are interrelated in such a way that the envelope remains constant. This constraint manifests itself in a circular constellation. If this constraint is removed, that means if you do not allow I and Q signals interrelate like this, that means one increasing, other flow decreasing. If you do not allow this, then automatically the constellation diagram changes. Right. So how to remove this constraint? Simple. Make the in-phase and quadrature components independent of each other. Remove the dependency between them. Okay, na? Let them be independent. That time you are going to get different constellation, and the corresponding technique is called MRA quadrature amplitude modulation. So okay, so two differences between MRA PSK and MRA QAM. In MRA PSK, amplitude remains constant. In MRA QAM, amplitude is allowed to vary. MRA PSK is a circular constellation system. MRA QAM is not circular, maybe squared. In MRA QAM, we find two types of modulation. One is amplitude modulation, another one is phase modulation. You may ask how suddenly phase modulation comes into picture. As we are using two basis functions, one is cos theta, another sin theta. The phase difference between them is 90 degree. So from this point of view, this is also having phase modulation, right? So we have both amplitude and phase varying together. That's why it's called hybrid form of modulation, right? Hybrid modulations are quite effective because the two orthogonal signals exist together. If the information is lost in one, it can be retrieved from the other one. That way. Okay. Yeah. MRA QM square constellation. So I've written here MRA QM signal S of t. This is almost similar to your MRA PSK. Cos 2 pi of ct is there, sin 2 pi of ct is there. Root of 2 E naught by t is there. Root 2 naught by is there. Only thing extra I've added is one amplitude term AK for the first term, BK for the second term. This AK and BK values change from symbol to symbol. The K may be taken as plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, like that. You can depending upon. You can choose any integer plus or minus values for AK and BK. So AK, BK value changes, symbol also changes. Okay. Root of 2 E naught by t common for all the symbols. Okay. You choose AK and BK values properly depending upon the number of symbols. Right. A QAM square constellation can be factored into product of the corresponding LRA PM constellation with itself. Okay. This takes some time to understand. First, look at into the heading part of this one. It's MRA QAM. MRA, M number of symbols. Correct. Right. In this M number of symbols, okay, if some mathematics is taken into account, look at this part. L is equal to root of M. If M is chosen such that root M is always an integer, that time we can establish it. L is equal to root M. Okay. I'll take an example. Let us take M equal to 16. 16 array system. 16 array system. What does it mean? There are 16 number of symbols. The time root 16 is equal to 4. What is 4 corresponds to? The 4 is taken as symbol L, let us say, with even number of bits per symbol. That means the question is now, can we make MRA system using binary? Can we make MRA system using binary? Hello guys, all of you mute your audio. Yeah. Okay. To understand the steps, so you go by examples always, guys. Okay. Take M equal to 4. M equal to 4 corresponds to 4 symbols. You have to transmit 4 symbols, right? To represent 4 symbols, use 4 amplitudes, M1, M2, M3, M4. Okay. Since there are 4 symbols, the system is digital but not binary. System is not binary, it is digital because M is not equal to 2, it is M is equal to 4. But can we implement M equal to 4 system using binary? Can we adapt the concept of M equal to 4 to binary? But in binary, we have only 2 symbols, 1 and 0. But still, using this 1 and 0, we can make 4 possibilities. That is 0, 0, 0, 1, 1011. So when m equal to 4, each symbol is represented by 2 bits. This 2 ne L, capital L. L is equal to 2 means what? Even number of bits per symbol. That means to represent one symbol, how many bits we need in binary? So m equal to 4 system can also be implemented using binary. That means when you express 4 symbols in terms of binary using L number of bits per symbol. Suppose m is equal to 16. To represent 16, right, how many bits we need per symbol? 2 power 4 equal to 16. So 4 bits. L is equal to 4. That means choosing 4 bits as one symbol, you can make 16 possibilities. That is 0, 0, 0, 0 to 1, 1, 1, 1. So like 16 combinations. So what I am suggesting is to encash the advantage of MRA system. For the binary system, we can go with this rule, L equal to root m. You always choose m so that it is either 4 or 16, like that. Or next is 64. If you choose like that, automatically we'll get L number. So you can implement MRA system using binary number system. Right. So when you're talking about constellation diagram of MRA QAM, we can say that statement. A QAM square constellation can be factored into MRA QAM square constellation can be factored into the product of corresponding L-array PAM constellation with itself. L-array PAM constellation. As I said, when L comes, it becomes a binary number system. Correct? It becomes a binary number system. Right. So that time the binary is represented as on off, high low, high low, high low. That's why it's called as PM, pulse amplitude modulation. Right. So a QAM can be factored into product of corresponding L-array PAM constellation with itself. That means if we can write L-array PAM constellation, we can multiply them to get M-array QAM system. That means to draw the constellation for QAM, you can write constellation for L-array PAM, then you can multiply them. You go to binary, guys. You go to binary. In binary, we have two symbols. Okay. If I ask you to represent two symbols, where will you represent? I use one axis, either X or Y. On that X axis, I chose 2 points, one for symbol 1, another for symbol 0, right? So that's why binary systems are one dimensional. Binary systems are one dimensional. Suppose you want to make this binary number system or binary communication system into quadrature communication system. Instead of one dimensional, you want to make it 2 dimensional, quadrature intentionally. That time you have to use 2 axes, one for cos axis, another for sine. So cos to opacity is taken one axis, sine to opacity. It makes the system quadrature in nature, right? Now the system is binary only. How many symbols are there? 2 symbols are there. How to choose them? Take one on x-axis, take one on y-axis, right? So if you take both the symbols only on one axis, systems becomes one dimensional. If you take the symbols on both the axes perpendicular to each other, the time system becomes 2 dimensional. The system is called quadrature. That time you can represent symbol. Half of the symbols on x-axis, half of the symbols on y-axis. So for binary, one remains on x-axis, another fellow remains on y-axis. Now if you go to Q symbols, Q, that is Q is equal to 4, quadrature, quadri phase shift. If there are 4 symbols, if there are 4 symbols, what will you do? 2 symbols will be chosen on x-axis, 2 symbols will be chosen on y-axis. So to this side, so totally 4 ala. One right side of x-axis, one right side of left side of x-axis. So on the horizontal axis, one right side, one left side, positive and negative. Y-axis, one above and below. So like that, 4 symbols can be represented. This is how to represent L-array PAM. But your M-array QAM can be obtained by multiplying these kind of L-array PAM systems. I'll explain you this one with examples in the coming slide. Okay. So based on this discussion, we can make 2 approaches. First, you can write M-array PAM. Then we can go to M-array QAM. So actually here one printing mistake happened. Yeah, this is QAM. Okay, right. So we can write constellation for MRAPAM with the 2 dimensions. We can multiply them to get MRAQM. Reverse. Sometimes you write for MRAQM, we split it into MRAPM to understand that one. Right. For 16 array QM, L is equal to root 16, 4, 2 bits per symbol. So 4 symbols are represented like this. Okay. You come to this diagram, here you will understand easily. Okay. I have taken an example here. In MRAQAM, let us take the number of symbols as 16. Just an example as a 16. M equal to 16 means 16 symbols are there. For 16 symbols, you have to choose 16 amplitudes for carrier signal. Remember, 16 symbols are there at the input. Only one carrier is there. Using one carrier, I developed 2 carriers. One is cos 2 pepside, another is sin 2 pepside, so that the system becomes quadrature system. Okay. For the 16 symbols of information, we need 16 different amplitudes. Okay. How to go to this 16 amplitudes? Which are the amplitude levels I have to choose? How to choose 16 amplitudes for these 16 symbols? So for that we start with L. First find L. L is equal to root of M, root of 16, that is 4. L equal to 4. What is L here? Number of bits per symbol. That means every symbol is represented with 4 binary bits. Right? This comes from the equation 2 power 4 is equal to 16. So 4 is L. That means every symbol you have to write 4 bits. 4 bits. Okay, now that is 0, 0, 0, 0 to 1, 1, 1, 1, like that. But say the system is quadrature, we have 2 basis functions, phi 1 and phi 2. So definitely we have 2 axes. So the entire MRAQM will always have 2 axes, x axis and y axis. X axis is phi 1, y axis is phi 2. Okay. So for every symbol, how many bits you have to accommodate? 4 bits you have to accommodate. These 4 bits are distributed for x-axis and y-axis. I take 2 bits on x-axis, 2 bits on y-axis, because every symbol has 2 basis functions, phi 1 and phi 2. In every one symbol, there are 2 basis functions. Every symbol carries 4 bits. So that's why 2 bits are allocated for cos function, 2 bits are allocated for sin function. So based on this, look at this axis here. On phi 1 axis, I've chosen 4 different points which are equidistant from each other, and I've assigned the bit patterns 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. But these patterns are not taken in order. They are taken in gray code condition. Okay, gray code condition. So first look at this 1, 1, 1, 1. 1, 1 corresponds to first quadrant. 1, 0 corresponds to second quadrant. 0, 0 third quadrant. 0, 1 fourth quadrant. So likewise you have written here. Even it also on y-axis also 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1. Okay. Based on the gray code concept, we have developed this system. Go with once again m equal to 16. 16 symbols are there. Because of 16, L is equal to 4. So every symbol should carry 4 bits. How to allocate 4 bits to every symbol? For that, I use this system. To access, I use out of 4 bits, 2 bits are put on x-axis, 2 bits are put on y-axis. Now, using this 2-axis system, you have to develop 16 patterns for 16 symbols, taking 4 bits at a time. Okay. Now, look at the x-axis. I have identified the midpoint 0. So when I identify the midpoint of this x-axis, 2 points goes left side, 2 points goes right side. Similarly, on y-axis also, you identify the midpoint 0. So the 2 points goes above, 2 points goes below. The distance between 2 message points on this y-axis is d. Distance is d, correct? So that from the origin, it's going to be d by 2 right side, 2 by 2 left side, and d by 2 above and d by 2 below. Based on that, we have written the axis. Now, we shall go for identifying 16 amplitude levels. Okay. Look at this equation of the first quadrant constellation. We shall write first quadrant constellation. This approach says that first take y-axis. Okay, now. Okay. What is the meaning of first quadrant? Okay. If you combine this x-axis and y-axis together and combine the origin, the center point of both of them, combine the origin, right? That time you are going to get like this. But one symbol here, one symbol here, one, here one, here one, here one, here one. The system signal space diagram goes like this. So two symbols, positive y-axis side, two symbols negative y-axis. Similarly, two symbols right side, two symbols left side for x-axis. Right. If you imagine like that, the first quadrant corresponds to this part. In the first quadrant, on x-axis, we choose these 2 points. Y-axis, we choose these 2 points. Likewise, we can define the first quadrant. Okay, that's what I have done here. So, for the first quadrant, on the y-axis, we take the first two symbols. That is this one and this one. What is the bit pattern? 1, 1. So 1, 1 is chosen. 1, 0. 1, 0 chosen. So positive side of the y-axis is chosen as vertical column. Next here, this fellow and this one. Right side of the x-axis. That's going to make one horizontal matrix. So vertical matrix for y-axis, horizontal matrix for x-axis. These two will make first quadrant. Now, theory say that if you multiply these two matrices, you will get the first quadrant. Okay. Look at the multiplication guys. On the vertical matrix 1, 1 multiplied with the first element 1, 1, 1, 0. That makes it first one. First element on vertical, second element horizontal, make this fellow. And second element in the vertical, first element in the horizontal makes this one. Like this. If you multiply, you'll get 4 patterns. So in the 4 patterns in the first quadrant, 4 patterns on the first quadrant makes 4 symbols. That means in the first quadrant, I can define 4 different symbols. 4 different symbols. How to define amplitude? If you join these two this way, this is going to make one amplitude. Okay. Suppose if you choose like this, this is one symbol, this is one symbol, and this is the amplitude level. For second one, this is the amplitude. Like this, 4 amplitude level can be chosen for this one. Similarly, work out for a second quadrant constellation. For the second quadrant, which is the second quadrant goes right this side, right now. Second quadrant, how do you choose? 1, 1, 1, 0. Vertical remains same, right? But x-axis goes left side. X-axis goes left side. This one is same. Positive side of the y-axis, negative side of the x-axis. Make the second quadrant. If you multiply, you will get this one. Like this, you have to make 4 possible combinations. You will get all the 4 quadrants with this one, right? So in each quadrant, we can identify 4 symbols. Finally, we get the signal space diagram. Signal space. Okay, this 4, 4, 4, 4. 16 points have identified. You can see the 16 points have identified. Each point corresponds to one symbol. See the difference between them? The difference, the distance, minimum distance between them, you can observe. That corresponds to energy level difference in practice. Okay. Like this, we can accommodate 16 different amplitude levels for 16 different symbols. Hence the name 16 QAM signal. Okay, since the amplitudes are different, it's called amplitude modulation. Even though it is called amplitude, it's an amplitude modulation, but phase is allowed to change from sine to cos, that is 90 degree. Even though only 2 changes 90 degree, still phase is allowed to change from cos to sine. That's why it's called quadrature amplitude modulation. where M symbols are upper. That's why it's called MRAQM. This is one of the most used digital modulation techniques in mobile communication nowadays. Okay, in wireless communication systems, most of the people use MRAQM, right? Because every carrier signal carries 4 bits of information. Carries 4 bits of information. One wave goes with 4 bits. If you receive one wave at the receiver, it means that you are receiving 4 bits. Okay. And look at that equation of P. P is equal to 4 into 1 minus 1 by root M, Q function of root of 2 in add binary. This derivation is also not required at this point of time here. So this makes it a complete discussion of MRAQM. Right. You can extend this concept of M is equal to 16 to 64 also, like that. It depends on what you want. Right. So that's enough about MRAQM. Okay. Hope you have understood. Right. What is the time, guys, now?
11:40, sir.
11:40. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we already gone beyond. Okay, I think that is enough for today. Okay. If you find any doubts, you can ask me. I'll share the notes of this one, detailed notes of this one